Hey viewers, today we're going to look at dealing with date formats when opening CSV files in VBA. By default, VBA will treat these dates as US format, which could lead to issues if it's different to your local settings. So in this video, I'll show you how to override the default behavior and use your local format instead. Now, even if you already know how to do this, please keep watching as there is an exception which I want to talk about as well. So we can override the default by simply using the local parameter of the Workbooks.Open function. So for example, set this variable WB equals to Workbooks.Open, then file name parameter is equal to the CSV file, delimiter parameter is equal to the delimiter used in the CSV file, a comma in this case, and the local parameter equals to true. This will force VBA to use the local language settings of your computer. And that's basically it. You could end the video right here. However, as I mentioned, there is a slight catch or an exception which I want to talk about. But firstly, for those who aren't familiar with a parameter, I'm going to demonstrate the default behavior followed by the override. At the same time, I'm going to try and make sense of what it's actually doing. So for the purpose of the video, to make it easier to switch between default and override, I have a drop-down with true and false in it, and the macro will pick up this value and assign it to the local parameter. The macro will be opening a CSV file that has dates in day, month, year format. It looks like this. So 14th of March 2026, all the way down, except the last one is the 4th of March 2026. Let's take a look at the macro. So here's my subroutine that I defined. Has some variables up the top. The local dates boolean is simply going to get the value from that drop down from E6, so true or false. Then we have the file name including the path to my CSV. And then set workbook variable workbooks.open. File name parameter is this file here. Delimiter, I'm using a comma, and local equals to this boolean up here. Now, that's just for this video. You won't need to do that. You can just hard code true. Now you can ignore the code below here. This is just cosmetic for the video, just to zoom in a little bit and to auto fit some of the columns. So the first scenario, we're going to run the default behavior. So local equal to false. This way, VBA is going to treat dates in the CSV as US format. Okay, let's open the file. Now the first set of dates look like they're correct, 14th of March 2026. But on closer inspection, if we look at the cell format, it's general and not a date. So what's gone wrong? If we go to the CSV file, the date is 14/3/2026. Now we've told VBA to use US format, so day and year. So it's going to try and create a date by mapping this value to this format. So month equals 14, day equals 3, year equals 2026. Clearly, it can't create a date from that because there is no 14th month. Hence, we get the general format. Now, while it looks fine, you may get issues with some Excel formulas. Perhaps even the VBA may have problems depending on how you deal with it. With a final date, well, the format is correct. It is a date. However, it's the wrong date. Let's look at the CSV. The value is 4/3/26. And we've told it to use US format. So month is 4, day is 3, and year is 2026. That is a valid date, albeit the wrong date. So it's creating a date for the 3rd of April 2026. And even though we're saying to use US format, it's going to display that date in your local date format. And that's why we have 3/4/2026. Clearly the wrong date. So just to confirm, we can check the month. So it's April and not March. So we can fix that by using local equals true. So override the default behavior, set local equal to true, and open the file. We now have all the right dates in the correct format. I can even check the month. March all the way down, and the last one, which was showing April before, is now correct. So setting local equal to true has ensured that VBA opens our CSV dates in our local date format. Now, what if the CSV file contains dates that are already in US format? The same dates, just month, day, year. Now I've created another subroutine almost identical to the one you've seen, except this is going to pick up the source file with a US date format and true false from a different drop down. We want local dates, so set local equal to true, open the CSV. But that's not what I expected. The first set of dates look like US dates, and if you look at the cell format, it's general. Again, let's try and understand what's happening. We'll copy the date from the CSV. We have local equal to true, so the format we're using is day, month, year. And it's going to try and create a date by mapping that value to this format. So the day is the 3rd, the month is the 14th, and the year is 2026. So clearly there is no 14th month. It can't make a date out of this one, and hence it's got a general format. The same applies to these ones. Now with the last date, it has created a date, but it's the wrong date. So that's the value in the CSV. Copy our format. Again, we want to map this value to this date format. So the date is the 3rd, the month is the 4th, and the year is 2026. So 3rd of April 2026. It is a valid date, but it's not the correct date. And because it's valid, it can display it as a date in the local setting. All right, so it is the wrong date. We can do that check again. Month, April. There's something strange going on. Let's try the default behavior, local equal to false. So VBA will treat the dates as US format. Open the file. We've got correct dates in local format. So what is going on? So here is our source date, US format. We said set local equal to false. And then it's going to map the value to this format. So the month is 3, the day is 14, and the year is 2026. That is a valid date. It's the 14th of March 2026. So it's created a date, and Excel is going to display it in its local date format. So we get 14/3/2026. And we'll just do the month check. It's the 3rd. So that is all correct. Let's do the same with a final date as well for completeness. All right. So this is the date in the CSV. This is the format. So month is 3, day is 4, year is 2026. So we've got 4th of March 2026, which is a valid date. Excel displays it in the local setting, so 4th of March 2026. So it seems that whenever the dates in the CSV are in US format, the local parameter works in the opposite way. So that is the exception I was talking about. So from that perspective, I think the local parameter is a little misleading. Rather than do you want to convert dates to local format, I see it as, does a CSV file already contain dates in local format? If your answer is yes, then it's true. If they don't, then it's false. Now, depending on the source of the CSV file, you might get dates in one format or another, but at least you should know what it's going to be ahead of time and you can plan for it. However, I've had situations where the format has changed on me during the project, so keep an eye out for that. Well, that wraps it up. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future videos. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.